Are you ready for your kids to start pulling their own weight? I've got some ideas for you.
So put this away. Put it in right here. Put it in over here.
Hello, I'm Cassie from Custom Built Parenthood with tips and a fresh perspective to create your space, parent on purpose, and streamline your home. Today we're talking about teaching kids to be responsible. You guessed it, we're talking about chores. It's really important to establish this expectation from the beginning that every member of the family, every member of the household has a role and has some responsibilities. My kids' ages right now are 7, 4, and 1, so this will definitely be focused most on young kids. I do start these expectations at the very beginning. We start kind of the idea of chores when my kids are about 1 year old and they're able to start doing some of these little tasks. And then we just carry that through, giving them more and more responsibilities the older they get. I'm going to talk about why it's important to start when kids are young, how to start when kids are young, give you some good ideas about establishing and building that into your routine. And then at the very end, I'll give you an extra bonus tip of how to stay sane, because sometimes it can feel like more hassle than it's worth having your little kiddos doing chores. So first I want to talk about good habits from the start. So my top priority with young kids is establishing good habits. These are not things that are a job or a big chore. These are just things that are expected from every member of the household. So things like picking up your dirty clothes and putting them in the hamper, putting away your clean clothes after laundry day, turning off lights when you leave a room, cleaning up around the sink after you're done brushing your teeth, throwing your trash away, bringing your dishes from the dinner table, all of those little things all throughout the day that are just good habits. You want to create great habits from the start. That's the easiest time to do this. So these tasks aren't jobs, they're just part of being a family and being a member of a household. It's really good to start this from the beginning so your kids start getting an awareness of their messes and realizing there isn't just somebody that's cleaning up after them all day long. So if they choose to get a toy out, they will be responsible for putting that toy back. Like I said, I start this from the very beginning. My little 1-year-old already is used to doing some of these things. So I lift him up and help him turn the lights off as we're leaving the room. I'll hand him his dirty clothes and he can toddle those over into the hamper and put those away. Same with clean clothes. Same with picking up his toys. He's already starting to get used to this is what we do and this is what's expected. Certainly, expectations are pretty low at this point. I'm doing a lot of the work for him. I'm helping him. I'm making it fun. I'm making it happy and easy. This is what you want to do so that they understand it's fun. It's not something to dread. It's not something that mom's just forcing me to do. This is just part of playing. We get to clean up when we're done. And when they're this little, it is fun. It's like the funnest game ever to put everything back into the bin. So start that as young as you can and get that habit established. These habits are expected from every member of the family. So even my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old still have those same expectations. So cleaning up their messes, doing all of those things are expected. You might be wondering, well, how do you enforce that? What do you do if they aren't cleaning up their messes? It's pretty simple. I let natural consequences do the teaching anywhere possible. So if Miss 7 is walking away from the art table after finishing a project, I'll simply say, please remember to throw away your trash and tidy all the supplies. It's now her choice to do it or not. I try not to nag. I try not to remind. I tell her that one time because they're still pretty young. They need that reminder. She can choose to go and obey and tidy that mess, or she can choose to keep walking and go off and play her own thing. If she walks away from it, I will take care of the mess for her. But there's a catch. If I ever am cleaning up their mess, it gets put away somewhere where they can't get to it for a few days. And if they ask for it in a future point, I say, yeah, you forgot to clean it up. Don't worry, I took care of it for you, but I put it someplace where I wouldn't have to clean it up again. We can get it out in a couple of days. Also, if Mr. 5 is done with his snack and ready to go play outside, I will remind him, please remember to bring me your dishes when you're all done eating. And once again, he has a choice. If he brings me his dishes, great, he can go play outside. If he doesn't, then I simply will say, okay, you can totally go out and play outside once you bring me your dish. And it's just that simple. There's no nagging, there's no yelling, upset, anything. It's their choice. I'm just simply enforcing the expectation or enforcing the rule. These are helpful to kind of lay it all out there for your kids if this is a brand new concept. kind of as a family, discuss the messes that are usually around, or discuss your jobs that are usually being done by mom, and now everyone's gonna help around. However you wanna go about that, let your family know things are gonna change. Mommy needs some help here, there's too many messes. So alongside this habit coaching that I'm doing with my kids every single day is a slow introduction to chores. A chore just refers to a cleaning task that needs to be done regularly in order to keep up the house. Again, this would be a great conversation to have with your kids, realizing it's nice to have a clean home. You're able to do fun things when your messes are cleaned up, whatever you want to say, and that we're gonna really, as a family, share the load. There's no reason to not share the load. It should never just be on one person. More than anything, my goal as a parent is that long before my kids leave our home, they are well equipped with all of the skills and knowledge that they need to survive and to run a household, to live on their own. Whatever they're going off to do, they need some skills to be able to be a functioning adult. So that's really my top priority. It's not very helpful at the beginning necessarily when you're helping your 1-year-old or your 2-year-old or your 3-year-old, letting them help clean your toilets or whatever. But it's an investment for the future. You're teaching them what they need to know for their sake and yours. It will become beneficial to you sooner than you might realize. So kids doing regular chores, like I said, teaches them necessary skills, but it also gives them a bigger appreciation and understanding of all that you as their parent do for them. It won't come right away. It will probably take years and years for your kids to really understand that. But doing chores teaches them how to work hard. It teaches them what goes into a house. It teaches them to maybe think twice before they just make a huge mess everywhere. That's what you're trying to teach them, just what it takes to be a functioning adult. All right, so the big question is, why start chores when kids are young, when it's really just so difficult? They don't have much abilities. You might feel like it takes you way longer to help them than it would be to just have you do it yourself, so why even bother? My top reason is it just starts the habit very early. So it's a lot harder as kids get older to kind of change things up and to be introducing huge new things. Certainly doable, and if you're in that boat, it's gonna be just great to start it whenever you can. But if you can start young, it's gonna help everybody involved. It's a time when it's really fun for the child. When they're really little, especially, 1 to maybe 4 years old, I would say, it's fun. Like, they wanna help mom, they wanna be there with dad doing the dishes, whatever it is. They would love to be by your side doing everything with you. It's more just what you allow them to do with you. So start when they're young, when it's fun, when it's something that's very enjoyable to them, and then it'll be easier once it transitions into not being fun anymore, which definitely happens. By then, it's a habit. It's ingrained, it's the expectation, it's been well established. This is just what you do. It really doesn't matter if you like to do it. It doesn't matter that it's not fun. This is just what we do. So the key when you're establishing chores for any age is age-appropriate expectations. It's not realistic to think that your 2-year-old is actually gonna clean the toilet all by himself. That's just not realistic. So base what you're expecting on your child's age. Make sure you're really aware of their abilities, and you can stretch them a little bit, but it needs to be within their realm of reality to help both of you not be frustrated. So I look at my kiddos and kind of figure out where that line is. The key for me is the size of the job. You want your child, your young child especially, to be able to accomplish the job in a reasonable amount of time, like probably 5 minutes at the most, more like probably 1 or 2 minutes. If it's too big and too daunting, they'll be so overwhelmed. So make it a very manageable size job for them. So like I said, I have a 1-year-old, a barely 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So let's start with the 1-year-old. Right now, his chores are helping me unload the dishwasher every morning, which to him is the funnest thing on the planet. I let him pull out the plates, make a little stack. He'll usually carry them and bring them to me. I kind of just let him do whatever he's wanting to do. Unloading the dishwasher, and then really cleaning up his toys. Those are probably his two biggest things. He does enjoy taking a cloth and like helping me wipe things down, but as far as real chores, I would say it's the dishwasher mostly that I'm kind of working on with him, you could say. And then all of the habits are huge. I'm definitely having him help me pick up all of his messes, the light switches, kind of all those things that I listed earlier are the focus for my 1-year-old. For my 5-year-old, he's pretty good. Bathrooms has been the focus just right now. That's what I personally wanted to focus on with both of my older kiddos. So they're working on bathrooms. So what that looks like is a toilet for my 5-year-old. One toilet, him cleaning. I'm all about quality over quantity. I want my kids learning. I'm looking for good quality work. I want that toilet to look so super clean, like I just cleaned it. So I teach them how I do it. Again, age appropriate expectations. I definitely am not drilling it in or making them fix things. I'm just having them know this is the expectation and this is the goal. Then whatever they can manage is acceptable. I just want them to do their best. I want them to enjoy it as much as possible, and just to know that I appreciate the effort. I appreciate them taking the time to clean with me. My 7-year-old, like I said, is definitely working on bathrooms. I shouldn't even say working on. She has mastered bathrooms. She's really good at vacuuming as well. Honestly, most of the jobs she's doing are the same level that I'm doing them. She's done this her whole life. I've rotated different focus areas. That's just my preference. We'll focus on one task until they've kind of really mastered that task. Or if they get really sick of it, you can jump to something new. But for me, simplicity is easiest, just one thing at a time. So she can do bathrooms. She can handle all of the dishes. So unloading, she knows where everything goes. Vacuuming, hard floors or carpet. She can also mop hard floors pretty well. We're definitely needing to work on that a bit more. But a lot of tasks she is more than capable of doing. But that also comes because I started so young. So if you're brand new to this, your 7-year-old might not have any clue how to clean a toilet, and you need to see that for what it is and just meet them right where they're at. So you can imagine how helpful it might be for a 1-year-old to help you unload the dishwasher. It's not. I'm just gonna tell you, it is not helpful. I could easily do it so much faster all by myself. And even my 5-year-old, his mirrors might look a lot dirtier than when they started, but it's just the whole principle, okay? We're doing this on principle here. We're teaching them, and it's an investment in the future. So Mr. 1 right now might not be too helpful, but maybe in 3 years from now or 4 years from now, I could never have to unload the dishwasher again if I didn't want to. It's totally an investment and absolutely worth it. Okay, so you might be having a total nervous breakdown even just thinking about letting your kids get their hands on all of your stuff and thinking that you need to let them do everything with you. That is not what I'm saying. I would lose my mind, okay? Cleaning isn't something that I have endless patience for. So my advice is to choose one thing, maybe every day, probably one thing that you will let them help with. So that's why I do the dishwasher with my 1-year-old. That's the one time of day where I'm kind of forcing myself, take more time, slow down, and just have some quality time with my baby. That's honestly what I see it as. I'm not doing this to accomplish the task as fast as possible like I might be normally. I'm seeing this as a learning and teaching experience for my baby. So one thing a day, and then build that into your routine. That's my best advice for having chores happen, because it honestly is a chore for you. It's gonna be a chore for you to establish chores for your kids. So pick a certain time of day that usually works well. So maybe it's once they come home from school, or maybe it's right after dinner. Whatever time will be a good time when emotions are low. So we don't want tensions high and asking your kids to clean. You also don't want them to be really tired. Just pick a really good time of day where they're not going to be kind of cranky, hungry, tired. Make sure they're in a pretty good place so that you can take the time with them and have them do their chores. So once you have kind of the time picked out, you want to move to what the chore is actually going to be. Like I said, you're looking for something that's age appropriate, and then just figure out what's your preference. Is it easier for you to simplify and just know they're doing the same exact thing every day, and maybe that thing needs to get done every day? Or are you wanting to just kind of give them some variety and kind of bounce around the house? It's up to you. Just have that figured out so that you're kind of prepared with what you're going to need to do, the supplies that you need to have ready, all of that stuff. You want to go pretty smoothly so that when you tell them it's time for their chore, they kind of know what to expect, you know what to expect, and you guys can get through that pretty easily. My best advice is to try to include your kids in this, especially if it's a pretty new concept for kind of older kids. Bring them into the process and talk about what time of day they think they would prefer to do it. Ask them what kind of chores they're wanting to do, or maybe what things they're wanting to learn. Kind of involve them in the process. That will hold them even more accountable when that time comes, that remember they had a say and this is what you chose. So toilets, sinks, vacuuming, dusting, dishes, there's plenty of options. Taking out the trash, even outdoor chores. If your kids love to be outside, give them some things outside, maybe weeding, or there's so many things. The point is you're just establishing the habit. You're establishing that awareness. It really doesn't matter exactly what they're doing, just that they're doing it and that they're doing it every day. So we do chores 5 days a week. So it's one little chore, probably, 3 to 5 minutes, I would say, every day, every weekday. And then weekends are just fun family time. But if that doesn't work for your schedule, growing up, Saturdays were the big cleaning day where we would spend a couple hours as a family checking everything off the list. So there's really no right or wrong. It just is going to be consistent for whatever you establish. So either every Saturday you're cleaning or every weekday, whatever it is, establish that. You can print out a schedule so that everybody knows. There's a lot of free printables. There's tons of different systems you can use. Just make it easy on yourself so that it's easier for you to remember and to kind of enforce this, because you are going to probably be getting some resistance. So make it as easy as possible for yourself. So it really is as simple as that, setting the expectation and following through, and your kids will learn, they will adjust. And especially if you are just starting this with your baby, it's really easy. It will just naturally progress as your baby grows, as they get more and more abilities and more understanding, and they can just continue learning as you're continuing to teach them. It's just taking those opportunities to teach them. Let them come and help you do the laundry. Let them help you fold some clothes. It will so surprise you how quickly they can learn, and all the skills they really can master quite quickly. As far as my tip that I promised, let go of perfection. This is the best advice I can give you, honestly, from my own experience. When things look dirtier than when they started, mirrors, windows especially, it can be really discouraging, and you can think, oh man, I'm not letting them do that again. They tend to make more messes sometimes when they're trying so hard to clean them up. You gotta just meet them at their level and appreciate the effort. Let go of the perfection and try not to fix things right away. So Mr. Five's mirrors, when it looks just so dirty, and it wasn't even that dirty to start with, I thank him for his effort. I tell him, great job, I appreciate it, you worked so hard on that. He goes off and plays, and then I can take time another point in the day to kind of fix his cleaning. Bedtime, some other time when he doesn't feel like I had to fix what he did. He doesn't feel like, oh, well, I didn't do a good enough job, so I just won't try next time. You don't want to be sending those messages. Appreciation and just respect for them and their efforts is all that you're trying to do. So go teach your kids some responsibility. You are raising very responsible, capable adults by doing so. It's totally an investment worth making. Let me know in the comments below your favorite chores for your kiddos. How old are they and what are they doing? What system has worked well for you? I would love to know, especially as my kids are getting older. It's just ever evolving. There's nothing in parenting that just stays the same always. It's always progressing, so there's always room for improvement and learning. So let me know what's working for your family, and we'll see you next time.